Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the latest incarnation of the Bill Crane Report, Episode 5. Now snuggle up, make sure the Jack Daniels cough medicine is close at hand, and pay attention.
Man after my own heart.
Yep. Tonight will be an outstanding learning experience for one and all as we present education, entertainment, and excellence in broadcasting in a most erudite fashion. So, Dwayne, I thought I would do something really special for you tonight.
Well, thank you very much.
And give you a few warm-up questions here before we get really rolling. But first, let me tell you, our show is growing in popularity, and we have got a couple of folks that have approached me that want to join the panel from time to time, come on as special guests and all.
That would be excellent.
And as soon as they tell me they're ready to go, we'll tell everybody who it is.
Okay.
And I think it's going to work out just super. Now, that's enough of this stuff. Now let's get down to business. How do you feel about 3,000 to 4,000 military troops being sent to West Africa to combat Ebola?
Horrible. In a word, just
don't back off.
I know.
Tell me how you really feel.
Horrible. That's the worst one of the damn decision you could make.
I mean, these are military men.
That's right. They're not trained.
No.
They have no expertise in it.
No.
If there's going to be a violation of protocol, they're going to do it because they don't have the expertise. They don't have the background for it. It's nuts.
This is wrought with problems.
Yep.
I mean, this is just a disaster waiting to happen.
We got enough disaster going the way it is now.
Well, we sure do, and I'm going to get to quite a few of them. How do you feel, and I think I asked you this last time, but how do you feel about the open house policy the Secret Service is using as a security plan at the White House?
I like that open house policy.
Yeah.
But, I used to have a lot of respect for the Secret Service, and I somewhat still do. Just to give you a little bit of the background, I had the opportunity to work with the Secret Service during Rockefeller's presidential campaign.
Uh-huh.
I was the military liaison with the Secret Service.
Him and Happy.
I don't know if you know, but when the Secret Service goes out, at least they did when I was there, you had somewhat every representative of the government was with them.
Oh, really?
I was the military representative. There was somebody else from DIA, Defense Intelligence Agency. There was probably somebody from CIA.
Asked a question.
Or whatever happened, they could make contacts just like that. I don't know if they do it today because of cell phones and stuff, but those days we didn't have cell phones.
Sure, I'll bet you they did.
They probably still do. So I thought they were really impressive, real impressive at that time. And I still think they're impressive, but things have changed in that group.
They have. They have. And,
I don't know how you can be that lax to let somebody come over the fence like that and run into the
I think it's got to be a morale issue as well as anything else.
I think so too.
And I'll be also, some of his appointments to people in charge have been very poor and blatantly political. Mm-hmm. And when you put a political person in charge of let's face it, a paramilitary group like that, I mean, it's really got to destroy morale, it would seem to me anyway.
Back in the 60s, this was 67, 68, they were very disciplined.
Oh, sure.
And they were very, I call them strack troops. I mean, they were just by the book.
Well, and you had to be top-notch kind of guy, too, to get on there.
Yeah, but this was a operation where they were into the field on a presidential campaign. Mm-hmm. They weren't home, so to speak.
Right.
And it might be different. I really can't say it, but I think it's changed.
I think it has too. I think it has. And part of it is something we talked about last week. Mm-hmm. At that point in time in the 80s when we stopped striving for excellence and we settled for good enough.
Just good enough, yep.
Yeah, and That's just a bad policy
right.
when you settle for good enough. Just a bad deal. There was a very interesting interview on television today. In the last 15 years, annual sales of guns in this country in the last 15 years has doubled. And violent crime has gone down in that same 15 years, 46%. Now, what do you think of that? What do you think of those numbers? One's headed in one direction, the other in the other.
I don't think there's ever been a direct correlation between the sales of firearms and violent crime, because the people buying the firearms are buying them legally, and they're not the ones committing the crime.
99.8%.
Something like that.
Yeah, our legal gun owners never ever get into problems.
I've had guns all my life.
Yeah.
I didn't bring them when we moved here. I'm from the Midwest. I left them out there because it was so difficult to get them to this state.
Yeah.
I would have had to go to a federal licensed arms dealer and have them shipped to him. Then I had to prove my residence stuff to him. I gave them to my brother-in-law. You keep them.
This state is ridiculous.
Yep.
Yeah. The other thing, don't you peek at this.
I can't read it anyways.
Oh.
I don't. My eyes aren't that good.
No. As I said, the sales have doubled over the past 15 years. What percent of new gun owners are women?
I think a lot. I don't know just percentage, but I think it has come. It has risen from what it was.
42%.
Because I know a lot of women are taking gun courses.
I believe it was last year, 42% of the new gun owners were females.
Yep.
And I think that's a great trend.
I think
I really do.
Well, there's a sense of the need for self-defense now.
Well, you're absolutely right. Absolutely
just
right.
watch the papers. How many assaults do you have almost daily?
I know.
And someplace on the Boston, maybe the Common, but I mean, the Esplanade and all the other areas.
Well, not only that, but there's all these drug dealers in that area too. They chase them from one area to another area to another area, and you have to blunder into something. It's.
If my wife was down in that area doing something, that she had to for business or whatever, and she was walking alone, I would encourage her to go to license to carry and get a little 25 or a little 38.
Absolutely. Now, we had a piece in the paper the other day of an accused attacker who attacked the two park rangers.
I told you, I forgot. I walked out with my folder. That was one of the things that was in there.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about that. Go ahead.
34-year-old guy accused of repeatedly stabbing two park rangers during a vicious daylight attack on Boston Common has a long history of violent assaults on family, friends, and police.
Bingo.
Including pleas to cops to kill him, similar to one he made after his run-in with the law Tuesday. Bodio Hutchinson's mother called the police that in 2006 her son was breaking up everything in their Dorchester home. I won't read the whole thing.
It goes on.
But it goes on and on. Knife attacks, assault and battery. And just before he was cuffed, he screamed, "Shoot me, shoot me," at the police. His defense attorney said that he is a paranoid schizophrenic who has long battled drug addiction. There's the Daily Double right there.
Of course.
It just goes on and on with his family, his roommates. He also was accused of punching, kicking, and biting corrections officers during a routine strip search.
According to the Globe article, that was more than once.
Yeah, and in 2013, after punching a woman at a McDonald's in Newmarket Square and then beating her, he bit a man who tried to help her.
Yeah.
So my question, other than reading all of this, is what is he doing out walking around?
Good That is the point, not the point that he's mentally ill. I think that's a given.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's violently and criminally mentally ill.
Plus a drug addict.
Yeah, plus
I
that.
mean, the double whammy.
Why is he on the street?
Exactly.
What do we have to do to get rid of some of these judges?
I don't know that, but the whole thing, he gets paroled.
Has the time come that we should follow other states and start to elect judges rather than appointing these doofuses for life?
You know what? That is a great
We
question.
have no control over these dimwits that we got sitting in judicial positions.
The downside of that is
I know.
It becomes a beauty contest.
Yep,
Vote for
absolutely.
me because I'm prettier than him. Vote for me because I'll do this.
But if he doesn't do it, we can get rid of him. Here, these guys, we can't get rid of them.
I know it. And there was one fellow in Boston, he used to show up on the talk shows on the radio, and they would name him, okay? And he would brag that he has never put a guy away
That's right.
for carrying a concealed weapon.
There was somebody in Bristol County that would never convict a DUI.
Yeah.
And judges or attorneys would, when they got a DUI case, would flock to him because they knew he was going to let him walk.
We have a Bartley Fox law
Yeah.
on the books that says if you carry a concealed weapon, 1 year
Yeah.
in the slammer. And he would always reduce the charge down to, I don't know, criminal mischief or some foolish thing.
And we can't get rid of these guys.
And he said, I am not going to ruin a young man's life over a silly mistake.
Yeah, silly mistake.
Silly mistake. Unbelievable.
This went from assault with a deadly weapon, and I don't know what else they were going to nail him with, to just that far from being a murder case.
That's right.
I mean, if that blade went this or this, that guy would have been dead.
Now,
it's like going these guys that walk into a Tedeschi's or a 7-Eleven and shoot the clerk, and they don't kill him. Well, they should be. That's not just attempted murder. That should be convicted like murder because the only reason you didn't kill him because you were a bad shot.
by the grace of God.
By the grace of God, that bullet missed a vital organ.
You know, this. One of the first reactions was from the politicians. Before you say anything, we're not going to arm the park rangers.
Oh no!
Well,
never do
now,
that.
I mean, how short-sighted is that?
That's ridiculous.
By the way, there was a school teacher some time ago who had a license to carry and disarmed a young man at a school someplace out in the Midwest someplace.
Yep.
So arming teachers, you know, that's not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing.
No. Now, Dwayne, moving right along here, I have an advertisement from the paper for the Providence Tattoo Arts Convention, October 17th to 19th. Come and get tattooed.
I pointed that out to my wife. I said, you might want to go down there. I said, you get a belated birthday present. I said, there you go. She said, looked at me like, are you crazy?
You know, I'm missing something in life. I've never had a tattoo. No, I haven't been tempted for one.
Me neither.
But I get a kick out of talking to these guys and saying, well, how much did that cost you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, started out at $900, and
Not only
it's
that.
about $1,400 now. And
There sometimes you get them drawing all kinds of welfare, Section 8, et cetera, but they got tattoos. You know what I didn't like? I don't care if somebody wants to get a tattoo. If you can afford it, go ahead. But it's not for me because, first of all, I don't like needles. And I'm not into pain.
well, there you go. Then I think I'll scrub this then.
And I change my mind too often.
It's really bad when you're dating a girl by the name of Liz and you have her name on your arm and end up marrying Judith.
There's actually a TV show called, it escapes me right now, Bad Tattoos or Tattoo something. It's these people that got some stupid thing at one time in their life. Now they're going to get another tattoo over the tattoo just to cover up the bad tattoo. But that's all they can do. Because I have an uncle. He has since passed away. He was a World War II vet. He was in the Navy. And like a lot of guys in the Navy in the 40s and World War II, they got tattoos.
Sure.
And he had, I don't know, he had the old one, with the anchor or his mom on it or something like that. Then at one point he decided he didn't want the tattoo. And in those days he tried to get rid of it. He went to some butcher and he left him a big, massive scars. Even today it's tough to get rid of them. Yeah. They use lasers, but it's a very painful and very expensive and long drawn out process.
My grandfather was in the Navy back in 1911 or 1912. And he had a tattoo on his foot of a pig.
Oh, jeez.
Well, in the Navy, the guys back then, of course, there was a lot of ships sinking and lots of accidents and all. The two animals that could survive the sinking were the pigs and the chickens.
Yep.
And so the guys would get tattoos, a little tattoo of a pig or a chicken for good luck.
Apparently the military has changed their policy on tattoos. When I was in, you could not have an exposed tattoo.
Right.
If you had it in your arm, you had to keep it covered.
Yeah.
And so military guys always got them up here that were just short of the short sleeve. I think that might have changed now because, when I talk about my being in the military, we're talking
Civil War.
Well, almost 50. Thanks a lot. Almost 50 years ago. So.
Well, here's another one for you, Judge.
All right.
Boy 10 held in death of 90-year-old. A 10-year-old boy, apparently angry that a 90-year-old woman had yelled at him, held a cane against her throat and repeatedly punched her, killing her in bed. The boy's attorney, Bernard Brown, said he would seek to have the boy released into his father's care at a bail hearing. They didn't do that, though. They're having a competency hearing, I guess. The boy may have mental health issues.
May have mental health issues?
What the devil do you do with him, Wayne?
I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not a mental health expert. I don't have any idea. I could not diagnose it. I would not.
When we go to
I know I wouldn't want him living next door to me.
When we go to elected judges, you're not going to run for judge, I mean?
No, not at my age.
All right. Well, we'll try this one.
Okay.
This is justice in Iran.
Hanging in a firing squad.
A group of young Iranian men and women known as the Happy in Tehran dancers were arrested in May for videotaping themselves cavorting to Pharrell Williams' popular dance hit. Were informed on Thursday of their punishment, 91 lashes and 6 months of imprisonment for each. One of the female dancers was given a punishment of 91 lashes and 12 months for uploading the video to the internet, which caused an international sensation. Now, they were all convicted of vulgarity and illicit relations because the video showed the female dancers, their heads illegally bared, jumping and jiving with the men. Public dancing is outlawed in Iran. Now, all of the punishments were suspended, one of the dancers said, but they could be carried out if the 6 defendants committed further wrongdoing over the next 3 years.
Welcome to Sharia law.
What do you think of that?
Welcome to Sharia law.
That's it, huh?
That's it. That's what you get.
Yeah.
That's the name of that tune.
That's the name of that tune, is right.
Yep. You get no dancing, no singing, no TV, no movies, et cetera, et cetera.
The women cannot go out in public without a
relative,
male whether it's a father or brother or something like that.
It is unbelievable.
It really and truly is. I feel so bad for the women over there. And where is the sense of outrage in this country by the feminists?
There is none.
I mean, holy cow.
Yeah, no. Well, I don't know if where you're going with some of this stuff. But,
I'm just bouncing around.
But I don't want to get into something that you've got there.
No, that's fine.
We don't practice this, folks. We don't have any idea what we're going to talk. He does, but I have no idea what's coming up.
I don't really have a good handle on it either.
But this is hard to say. I'm not sure where I want to go with it.
Well, we'll
I cannot-
offend somebody anyway.
Oh, of course, I don't care about
Yeah,
defending
no.
anybody. I wouldn't be here if I was sensitive to that. I wouldn't be here. But the idea that women have no rights, but women accepting this, not so much in Iran or Saudi Arabia, they have no choice.
They have no
But
choice.
a country here
Yeah.
will voluntarily embrace Muslim or Islam,
Yeah.
knowing full well that their rights are they're considered somewhere, their status is somewhere above a goat and below a camel. You know,
They're
sort of that.
submitting to the
Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
Totally.
I don't understand it,
There's a
but-
picture in the paper of someone last week, and she just had, and it was right around here. She had the eye slits. That's all. A veil right across.
Can you imagine your wife or my wife putting up with that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get a
right.
picture of that. Here's another little story of interest. Out in Beijing, 6 school children died and 25 were injured in a stampede Friday at a primary school in the southern Chinese city of Kunming. It wasn't clear what caused the stampede among the first and second grade students of the Mingtong Primary School. Unbelievable. Also Friday, a man fatally stabbed 4 students on their way to an elementary school in the neighboring province of Guangxi. Police were searching for a suspect. Earlier this month, a man killed 3 pupils on the first day of school before jumping to his death. And these people criticize us for being hooligans?
I'm not sure where that was in China, but
Yeah.
China's such a big country, and it's so diverse in their populations. Western China has a Muslim, again, unfortunately, I'm not picking on Muslims, but they have a Muslim population.
Oh, I know that. And they're terrified of them.
Oh yeah, and they want to bring Sharia law, and they're big on that was the group that attacked the people in the was a train station
In the subway, wasn't it?
train station, and they stabbed all those
Yeah,
people.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know
it's
about
just
that, but
the same problem Russia has.
Russia has the same problem, but as far as stampede,
Yeah, I mean,
that's not typical Chinese.
No.
But it happens. You find that in Mideast countries. You find it like in Iran, Iraq, where they're going on these religious things, and somebody will say, well, there's a bomb in the midst, and they'll stampede.
Yeah.
You find that in India a lot.
India a lot is
A
right.
lot, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, when they, especially on that march to our pilgrimage to Mecca,
Yeah.
I guess it's not uncommon for
Yep.
a panic to set in,
Right.
and they have stampedes there. Just a brief quickie here with a comment. Microsoft is scrubbing Windows 8 because of the feedback that they have received from it, and are going to jump 9 and go to 10.
Yeah, I saw that.
Because there's a real rebellion underway about this Windows 8. And the funny part about it is, within Microsoft, there were people who spoke out against this. But the ruling bunch said, nope, this is the way we're going, because we want to have the same thing with our tablets and with phones, this pushing little boxes around the screen. Well, guess what? The computer owners that are used to Windows and work with it there all the time have said, we don't like this. This is not going to fly with us. And so they're going right back to what Windows 7 was.
Maine, there's this old saying in Maine, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well, that's it. Now, but my question to you is, who takes this in the neck? The shareholders do. Of
course they do.
How much money did it cost to develop
The R&D
this
costs are
Windows
tremendous in something like
8
that.
and bring it out?
Yep.
The marketing costs, and now how much money is it going to cost to scrub everything and go to 10 simply because they wouldn't listen to some of the information that was brought in that said, hey, time out. We're not sure you should be doing this, But anyway.
You find that different industries.
Yeah.
A classic one, much, much simpler. remember Coke and Coke Classic and the
Oh,
new
yeah.
Coke?
Yeah.
Everybody in their marketing said, "Don't do this. Leave it alone."
I
Oh
know.
no! We're due for a change.
This incredible brand that they had. And they scrubbed it.
Yep.
Unbelievable. It's a funny thing. When I worked at the Foxborough Company, I'm not saying that I got far up the ladder, but I got invited to meetings where you made presentations in front of vice presidents and sales managers and all of that. And at one point, a very high individual sat in on the meeting, one of the really top guys. And we said, we have a problem. And I wasn't one of the guys articulating it, but it was one of the 8 or 10 other guys that was from product sales, like me. And he said, well, I'll tell you how we're going to handle this. He said, here's what we're going to do. You guys keep pushing up, and I'll start pulling up, and we'll get it squared away.
Get through. Yeah.
What? And I couldn't help myself. I said, what the hell does that mean? And he just blundered around. Bum, 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 bum. Unbelievable. Vice President Biden's son has been kicked out of the Navy Reserve for cocaine
I
use.
saw that today for the first time.
This is an insidious thing, the drug culture in this country. When a guy like that has got every bloody thing going for him
That's
that
right.
you can think of,
Yep.
has to turn to cocaine.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
this happened when last August
Well, actually,
end of the year.
it happened a while ago, but the news just came out. He was discharged in February, but somehow or other it came out somehow or other here. I'm not sure how it came out, but it happened back in February. Fun with headlines. I know you enjoy this.
Oh, I'm going to have a project coming on this.
At $486 billion, federal deficit is lowest in Obama's 6 years.
It doesn't say that's good or bad.
No.
It just implies that it's the lowest.
In 2008 or 2009, it had been 1.4 trillion. And it's still a deficit. And it still has gone from 9 to 17 trillion dollars on his watch. But at 486B, federal deficit is the lowest in the 6 years. It is still $500 billion.
Oh, absolutely.
Give me a break. Well, I brought this one along because I really wanted to share with you my thoughts on this. Kennedy, Congress should have okayed action. And this is little carrot top, Joe Kennedy. And he said said Islamic extremists in Iraq and Syria are dangerous and have to be dealt with, but long-term military action should be approved by Congress. There is no doubt that ISIL poses a grave threat to our allies and interests in the Middle East and potentially to our homeland, he said in a statement. Confronting them will require blah, 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 blah. Anyway, bottom line, I agree with him.
I do too. He's had a few things lately that he's starting to make some sense.
I mean,
I didn't have a lot of
his
faith in him.
handlers here obviously are, he's catching on, but I agree with him.
Yeah, there was a couple things before this too that came out that I agreed with.
Obama should have gone to Congress and said, we have a problem.
I was shocked when he takes some of these positions that he's taken.
Yeah. North Attleboro, accused of slicing friend's bike tire
I didn't see
and
that.
then threatening him with a knife. So my question is, if she do this to a friend, what would she do to an enemy?
I think that woman's got has an anger problem.
Yeah, I don't want to jump to conclusions, but I wonder if drugs or alcohol were involved here.
I think that's a pretty
You think that might have
pretty
something to do with
fair,
this?
safe assumption.
Stupidity. I know you haven't seen this. I get Venture sends me this card, the advertisement for the card, Capital One, the Venture card, and they send me this stuff, and what's that say right there, circled?
Electronic service required.
Oh,
Requested, rather.
Yeah. And what's it say on the envelope?
We're looking forward to your reply.
Is that a misleading pair of messages, do you think?
It could be.
Yeah. Electronic service requested. Thanks. We're looking forward to your reply.
In the return envelope, yep.
The marketing department. I would never have one of these cards based on what the marketing department does. The German military is having some problems. First, a group of German army instructors got stranded in Bulgaria en route to Iraq when their plane malfunctioned. Then the weapons they were planning to train Kurdish fighters to use got stuck in Germany because a Dutch military plane brought in because no functioning German aircraft was available broke down. The plane problems were a particular embarrassment for the defense minister who had flown ahead to witness this training. And by the time that the weapons finally arrived, she had met the Kurdish leaders and went home.
Okay.
According to media reports, only 24 out of 43 C-160 transport planes are currently available. The planes developed 50 years ago remain the workhorse of the Luftwaffe because their replacement, the Airbus A400M, has been delayed for several years. The report also said just 42 of the Luftwaffe's 109 Eurofighter jets and 38 of its 89 Tornadoes are ready to fly.
That's been a problem for a long time with certain militaries.
Yeah.
What percentage of their available aircraft is available to use?
Yeah, and they also acknowledged that it couldn't send any of its Sea-Lynx helicopters because of cracks in the tails. Munich's Süddeutsche Zeitung reported that 110 of the Army's 180 Boxer armored transport vehicles are currently being repaired. I thought this article was interesting because if we keep cutting the military budget, this is what we're going to find ourselves in also.
We have an aging military fleet of aircraft and equipment.
Yeah.
We still depend on basically the B-52.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been revised about 17, 18 times,
Yeah.
but it's still an old airframe.
Of course it is.
We still depend a lot on Hercules C-130s.
And
Great aircraft, but
how about the tankers?
Oh, yeah.
The flying tankers.
Yeah,
We finally cut a contract for them. But
was it KC-47? It's an old 707.
Yeah,
The civilian airlines don't have any 707s flying, but military still got them.
Yeah.
Flying as tankers.
I know. So, I really worry about stuff like this. And the lot that's in charge down in Washington is, we don't need new programs. We get plenty of old stuff, blah, blah, blah. I'm getting towards the end of this, by the way. I read a couple of reports of a Toyota Camry LE and a Honda Accord EXL. Both extremely popular cars, probably number one and number two.
They are, number one and number two.
They also had tests of the hybrid for both of them. Now, in the Camry's case, the list price on a standard Camry is $24,090.
Yeah, that's about
and
right.
it gets 35 miles to the gallon.
I happen to have one of those.
Yep, I know
that's just about right.
And the Camry Hybrid gets 40 miles to the gallon. $31,195. The difference is only $180 a year in gas. So it would take you 39 and a half years to pay the additional $7,100 or $7,200 to
You
have.
crunch those numbers and you'll find that the hybrid is not that good a deal.
That's right. Now, the Honda is a little better because the Honda Hybrid gets 45 on the highway. But it still takes you, but the price difference is different, though, because it costs you $10,905 more.
Yeah.
Takes you 33 extra years to pay for the Honda.
Oh yeah, that's always been that way. But people don't realize that. They see hybrid, they hear this, they do that, and they don't stop and think what they're really paying for.
Well, exactly. That's exactly right. You know, a half-wit pulled up beside me when I was in the beloved Mercury, my
Land yacht.
my land yacht, and he zipped his window down, and he called me a name and said, "Why don't you buy a hybrid, you?" I said, "Why don't you just pull up there and park that car and you and I will talk about this, buddy?" And he just, I didn't call him buddy either.
I'm sure you didn't.
Yeah. But what's wrong with these people? I mean, they want to be seen driving them, I guess.
Yeah,
it's good for the environment. You know, they think anyway.
There has to be other motivations to buy a hybrid other than to save money.
Yeah.
Even there has to be other motivations to buy a diesel.
Yeah.
Mercedes diesel.
Yeah.
I mean, if you spend that much money on a Mercedes, you don't have to worry you get a couple of less miles to the gallon.
No. No.
And to put up with that diesel thing?
That is the last thing in the world you need to worry about, is money when you have a Mercedes. Now, I've really got to get now to the election.
Okay.
Here's the latest from the Globe today. By the way, the latest is Scott Brown's up by 1 point.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised.
In New Hampshire. And it's, according to the Globe, it is dead even here. 41-41. But here's the amazing thing, and this one doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Their likability quotient is pretty darn close to even between Charlie Baker and Martha Coakley. Charlie Baker's a little higher, believe it or not, and the likability quotient by a couple of points. But the dislikability, they call it very favorable, very unfavorable, or somewhat unfavorable. Martha Coakley is 23% very unfavorable, 20% somewhat unfavorable, and that's 43%. Charlie Baker is 9% unfavorable, very unfavorable, 15% somewhat unfavorable. That's 24. In the disliking category, she whips him 43-24. Those are strange numbers.
Yeah, when you do statistics like that, sometimes things get skewed for various reasons. And I would like to see when they run these kind of polls, give a reason why you think it is.
Yeah.
Even if it's not real, but just give us something to work with.
Here's another thing too. With the election closing down on us, they decided today to do Patrick's legacy. I guess I really don't quite understand all of that. But do you approve or disapprove of his job as governor? Approve 51, disapprove 41. This 51% obviously doesn't been following the newspapers and all the different shortcomings of this administration, but how would you vote in this? Now, you got 51-41 favorability up here. How would you vote if Deval Patrick were on the ballot this November? Definitely re-elect, 25%. Consider someone else, 29%. Definitely vote for someone else, 42%. That's 71% who would either consider someone else or definitely vote for someone else. That these two numbers and these two numbers don't jive.
Yep.
They don't jive. How does the quality of life compare to when Deval Patrick was elected? 23% better, 30% worse, about the same, 45. So 75% of the people have said, well, things haven't gotten any better. They've gotten either worse or about the same. 23% have said better. How does that jive with that up there again?
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
You can find these kind of anomalies in these kind of surveys.
Yeah. How does Deval Patrick compare to other Massachusetts governors in your lifetime? 16%, one of the best. 59%, about average. 21%, one of the worst. So one of the best, 16, average to less than average, 80%.
It's hard. It's hard. You got to remember too what you're dealing with. You're dealing with a base of a state that's what,
Yeah.
85 or 90% Democrat.
Right. Well, it's 4
Well, I don't know
1.
what it is.
4 to 1.
Is it 4-1?
Yeah, so it's 80-20.
80-20. Okay, so you got to look at that element when you do your statistics too, because that's where your base is coming from.
You know, this is also interesting here. It's only 400 likely voters. Margin of error is 5%, 4.9 plus or minus. Live, landline, and cell phone via registration-based sample. Now, if this is true, they're calling 4 Democrats and 1 Republican, because that via registration-based sample. Is that it? 4 Democrats to 1 based?
It has to
this
be.
is
If you're going to take your random sample, and it's consistent with the with
because
the base
400
population.
likely voters, and I would say a likely voter is someone who is registered one party
course.
or the other. So I don't know. These numbers here don't do a whole heck of a lot for me.
No,
But now let's get to the election itself.
they use a lot of those surveys are used for propaganda.
Oh, of course they are.
And
of
for
course they are.
electioneering.
And by the way, who are these people asking the questions?
That's right.
You know,
And how is the question actually phrased?
exactly right.
It's so key.
Sure. How's your inflection? Would you vote for this guy? Oh, would you vote for this guy? You know.
You
Anyway.
get these once in a while. I usually don't pick up the phone if I don't recognize who it is.
Right.
But once in a while you get one, and they're doing some survey. And you can tell after the first question what they're after.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I had one the other night, and I said, "Who's behind this?" Oh, I don't know. I said, "It's the Mass Teachers Association.
Yeah,
Give
exactly.
me a break."
Come on.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. We have a Senate race: Edward Markey, the Democrat, and Brian Herr, the Republican. Who are you calling, sir?
Who am I calling?
Yep. Who's going to win?
I'm afraid Markey is.
Yeah, I think we'll both take Markey. Who's Brian Herr? Have
No
you
one
seen an ad? Have you heard an ad?
no one knows.
Seen anything on TV? No. I mean, Edward Markey is a very defeatable man. I mean, he is gone through the motions for 30 years. I mean,
And he doesn't live here.
no,
He's not a
he's
Massachusetts
from down
representative.
Washington. He's part of the whole.
What does he live in his mother's house or something
Yeah,
like that?
yeah.
He's just-
That's
he
what he
says-
uses the address.
the address, yeah.
Governor and Lieutenant Governor Baker and Polito, Republicans, Coakley and Kerrigan. And this, I think, is close. Is it 41-41? I don't think so. I think that, quite frankly, I think Baker has a little bit of a lead.
Yeah, I think the election of Baker is going to pull ahead a little bit.
I think so, too. I'm calling for Baker, too.
He's very electable.
He's very electable.
The only thing they keep hounding on him, and the Globe keep hounding on him, is his tenure as with,
Harvard Pilgrim. Yeah.
Harvard Pilgrim.
And a Globist wrote a column on that and said, here's the facts. Get over it.
Yeah.
He did nothing wrong. He was great for Harvard
They
Pilgrim.
kept harping about this outsourcing thing,
Yeah.
and it had nothing. It really didn't have anything to do with him. He used Ross Perot's company who did they went and outsourced something. He didn't actually send this stuff to China or to India, but by doing what he did with Perot, he saved that company.
Yeah, yeah. Has John Miller, the Republican candidate, got any chance against Maura Healey, the Democratic candidate for Attorney General?
I don't know.
I don't.
I cannot tell you that.
You know, John Miller, he's had some ads on TV. Mm-hmm. He's a very well-spoken man. He's a businessman. And Maura Healey is, well, I've been an assistant attorney general. Mm-hmm. That's all she. That's all she has.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You know, I'd like to think that John Miller has a chance, but I don't. Realistically, I don't think so.
That's going to be a toss-up on that.
You know what they do after they get by the Baker thing? Mm-hmm. It's going to be D. Let me give you folks at home a hint. Okay. Those guys that have D after their name, that means don't. The guys that have R after their name, that means right.
Oh,
so just remember that.
No, vote for who you think is the best man for the job. He's kidding you.
Okay. Now, what about the ballot question?
Oh, that's gonna draw more interest.
It is.
Than all of these over the candidates.
No, I think the governor's race.
Governors will draw interest.
Yeah.
But this is what's going to draw them out.
You're absolutely right.
Draw people to the polls.
And by the way, there's a real, genuine contest on the Cape between Keating and the Republican. And the Republican, one poll shows him up 5.
Yep.
I knew his father, by the way. His grandfather, Bill Keating. Mm-hmm. He was the head of the security over the Foxborough Company. No nonsense kind of guy.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. The first question on the ballot is, would eliminate gas tax indexing? And the reason this was put on the ballot was because the legislature passed a bill that would raise the gas tax to reflect the cost of living. And of course, this is a wonderful way for the legislature to raise taxes without voting on it. Mm-hmm. And I think everyone has seen through that. And I think everybody I've talked to has said, let them vote on it every year. Make a case for it.
Use the tax for what you need, not for what you think, not some artificial index. Yeah. If we do need infrastructure changes,
There's no question.
And then vote on it and fix the roads. But don't say, well, we're going to just put it on the index and this is what's going to happen, this is what's going to happen. And you know it's not going to go where it's supposed to go in that case.
This is going to go down the drain.
Oh, yeah, I think so, too.
Yeah.
No, I don't think anybody's going to support that.
Question 2 would expand the state's beverage container deposit law, requiring deposits on containers not currently included in the bottle bill, like water and juice and stuff like that. The way this started out, that a yes vote was running way ahead, and then those advertisements came out. And now I think that this question 2 is going to be defeated.
Well, there's some people that, surprisingly, known people that came out against it.
Yeah.
The bottle bill was good in its day. But with the recycling and stuff, and it's just changed. It's not an efficient way of handling these kind of things.
Question 3 would repeal the state casinos gambling law, and I think you're safe on this one. The numbers are look like this is going to be defeated by maybe a 12 or 14 point margin.
Yeah, I think so.
And those numbers have been there all along.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know if you noticed the Sun Chronicle this past week. Jim Hand's been running articles. Of course, he skews the headlines again to make it sound like it's something that it's not.
And the content, too.
And not only that, they call it question 4.
Great.
They couldn't even get the number of the question right.
I'm not surprised. Question 4 would entitle Massachusetts workers to earn and use sick time with certain caveats. A yes vote would entitle employees to earn and use sick time. A no vote would leave current law unchanged. You know, I think this will pass because everyone is going to say, oh boy, something for nothing. But look, there's going to be small companies that are going to be affected. It's if 11 or less is going to be unaffected, but if you happen to be the magic 12, it's going to be affected. And
nobody can accuse us of being biased in that question because it doesn't affect us.
No, I'm going to vote no on this, simply because there are companies, small companies, that are struggling.
Yeah, they're right on the edge.
Yeah,
all the time.
And to say to them, well, you got to give them all an extra week's vacation, because that's what this is, a week's vacation. I can't afford to do it. That means I got to hire a 13th person.
Yep.
I can't afford to bring a 13th person on. So
this is not well thought out.
no, it's not. It's not. I think it'll pass, though.
I think it will too.
I think it's the old something for nothing deal.
But it's a very socialistic type question that passes in this type of socialistic state.
Exactly. It's what would have been really neat would have been if we could have invited Martha Coakley to come on our show.
Oh, sure would. Maybe her and Obama.
I'd like to ask her a couple, 3 questions.
Oh, yeah.
Number one, she's been running for governor since at least January 1. Full time.
I'm sure she's watching right now, by the way.
I'll bet you she is, too. Hi there. Are you getting paid to be Attorney General? If you are, when are you doing the work?
Yeah.
Because you're on the road campaigning all the bloody time. Now, do you have 9 or 10 months vacation saved up? And by the way, I'm sorry
I have a question for you after you get done with this.
I'm sorry
about campaigning.
Just, picking on her here. But the whole damn lot of them do the same thing. They just call a great big time out and say, well, okay, I'm not going to do much of my work now because I have to campaign.
I have a question for you.
Keep on cashing them checks.
When President Obama goes out on these campaign runs to support some Democratic candidate, say in Missouri or California or something, and he flies on Air Force One and they load up all the vehicles, everything else, they spend millions and millions of taxpayers' dollars to get him there. Who pays for that?
We do.
Wouldn't it be better off just to write that guy a check for $1 million and forget it?
Here's the thing. He's not supposed to do this unless he's got a reason to go there in the first place.
But that's not the case.
Well, yes, but he will.
He'll make something
will go
up.
there. He'll visit a post office.
Yeah.
Or he'll visit a federal facility, or he'll talk to the governor about additional aid coming to the governor's state. Oh, while I'm here? Sure, tonight I'll go to that fundraiser.
But people don't realize what that costs. They think he just goes there and gets off. It's not. He's got a whole contingencies with him. He's got 60, 70, 80, 90 people. Not only that, he flies in that big plane, but they fly all those SUVs, they are flown in big transports first to get there.
Absolutely.
It's just unbelievable.
The staff that he brings with him, absolutely incredible. But they all do it.
Yep.
And it's wrong.
Like Patrick going over to Governor Patrick going to, I don't know, East Ethiopia for find out how we can do more business with them. That's just a vacation is all it is.
And how come we get this thing with the way this whole governor campaign has unfolded, but Martha Coakley has women's groups for her. This women's group, that women's group, this women's group, that women's group. What if Charlie Baker had ever formed men's groups? Sportsmen's for
be killed.
Or working men for Charlie Baker.
Yeah, he'd be killed.
You're right. He would be vilified.
Vilified,
Now,
yeah.
how is this fair?
It's not. It's never been fair. There's always been a bias.
It can't be okay for one, but not the other.
Oh yeah, it is.
In the upcoming debate, if Coakley raises her voice or sternly makes a point, she'll be called tough and courageous.
Oh yeah.
If Baker does it, he will be labeled a bully, a savage, lowbrow, knuckle-dragging Neanderthal.
Anti-feminist.
How is that fair?
It's not.
I don't.
It's just not. Bill, this has been since time immemorial. This has been going on. Yeah, look at it's not totally right. Look at TV commercials today. Mm-hmm. You got a man and a woman. The man is always portrayed as a dummy or an idiot. He can't do anything right, and the woman has to. I have to take care of him. He's like a bumbling idiot.
Have you noticed?
Even my wife says this is not right.
Have you? Very perceptive lady. Have you noticed? My wife watches NCIS, Bones, Rizzle and Isle, so I don't know. But all of these major police departments, the detectives are all 5'10" brunettes or blondes.
Yep.
Beautifully made up, gorgeously dressed, and smart as a whip.
Yep.
There's a couple of lunkhead men there. And when the superintendent comes in, it's a lady.
Of course it is.
And when the governor comes in, it's a lady. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is just not realistic. But every bloody one of them is beautiful.
Yep.
I don't understand it all. But anyway, my wife pointed out something to me. She said, I don't think Martha Coakley has really thought this all the way through. There's going to be an awful lot of us, ladies, that are married to a man and have 3 sons. And this isn't going to work well because we're going to say, hey, you're supposed to be the governor of all the people, not just the ladies. Right. So maybe she hasn't thought this thing through all the way. Well, folks, as much as I hate to say this,
we've been given the high sign.
We've been given the high sign that it's all over for another week, and I cannot find my script to say good night. So you know what? I'm going to have to wing it. We've enjoyed every moment of this show. We've enjoyed the fact that you thought enough of us to tune us in and put up with us. And thanks much to the magic of Katie Woodhams. Hopefully we've put together another dandy award-winning show, and we can't wait to do it again.
We're going to try to come up with an email site that you can contact us.
Right. I will have an email site for you that you'll be able to contact us on.
So comment or join us or anything you want.
That's right. And thank you so much. Good night.
Good night.